Have you ever caught him watching you? Not when you're talking, not when you're laughing, but in those still, quiet moments when he thinks no one's paying attention? A glance held a second too long, a breath that hesitates, a softness in his voice when he says your name, as if it's something he's not supposed to feel but can't help. That's not nothing. That's not polite interest. That's a soul trying and failing to keep a secret. Jung once said, "What we do not make conscious appears in our lives as fate." So what if I told you this man, the one who sends mixed signals, who leaves you guessing, who backs away just when things feel real, might be far more in love than even he realizes? The unconscious speaks first. It speaks in tension, in silence, in the slight tremble of the ordinary. Before the mind forms a sentence, the body has already confessed. This is the love that doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives like gravity, quiet, constant, undeniable. You won't see it in dramatic gestures. You'll see it in the way he shifts when you enter the room. You'll see it in his restraint, in the questions he asks, and the ones he doesn't dare to. Because when a man's soul has chosen someone, his conscious mind often scrambles to keep up. The mistake most women make? They expect love to declare itself with clarity. But real love, especially the kind that unsettles the soul, shows up as confusion, as hesitation, as disruption. Let's get one thing clear. This isn't about games. This isn't about overanalyzing texts or decoding emojis. This is about soul-level impact, the kind Carl Jung spent his life studying. When a man's unconscious recognizes you, when something deep inside him says, "This one matters," his behavior will shift before he can explain why. It begins with attention, not the kind that flatters, the kind that notices. He picks up on things no one else does. A change in your tone, a hesitation behind your smile, a phrase you said once weeks ago that he brings up like it's etched into his memory. Not because he's trying, but because he can't not notice. He remembers details, shows up at odd moments, appears just when you've begun to doubt his presence. It doesn't come from calculation. It comes from resonance. You live in his unconscious now, and the unconscious is a relentless place. It will keep tugging at him until he either wakes up to what he feels or runs from it. You'll also see it in how he changes around you. There are men who are the same with everyone, smooth, consistent, unreadable. But when a man is in love, even if he doesn't realize it, something stutters. He's more open with you, or more awkward, or strangely both. He may seem more nervous, or more focused, or more sincere in a way that makes everything else feel fake by comparison. Because real love doesn't polish you. It exposes you, and suddenly he's not in control of his image anymore. Pay attention to his silences. With you, they aren't uncomfortable. They're loaded. He doesn't need to fill them. He's present inside them. When Jung described how the unconscious reacts to deep emotional truth, he didn't speak of logic. He spoke of symbols, of resonance, of instincts responding before understanding. You'll feel that in the way he worries, not in a controlling way, not performative, but quiet concern. He wants to know you got home safe. He reminds you to eat. He checks in on things you thought he forgot. Not because he wants something, not because he's trying to impress you, but because you've become part of his inner world. And your well-being is now inexplicably tied to his. When that happens, it doesn't matter what he says. His soul already made the decision. But here's where things get confusing. He might pull back. He might act distant. He might even go cold right after the most vulnerable moment you've ever shared. Don't mistake that for lack of feeling. Sometimes love, real, disruptive love, scares the hell out of people. especially men who weren't ready to feel something so real, especially men who have spent years mastering the art of detachment, of being in control. When love shatters that control, they don't always lean in. Sometimes they run, not from you, from themselves. So how do you know it's love, not just attraction or confusion? Because it doesn't go away. You feel it in his gaze when someone else talks about you. You see it in how his posture shifts when you're mentioned. He doesn't have to say a word. His body defends you, even when he doesn't understand why. Jung believed that deep emotions leak through behavior before they reach the mind. This kind of love isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself, but it alters the rhythm of everything. He starts changing, not just around you, but because of you. His schedule, his focus, even the way he interacts with others begins to shift. You become the reference point. And the most telling sign? He includes you in the future without realizing it. It slips out. I want to visit that city someday. You'd love it. Or, when I finally get my own place, I want a kitchen you'd approve of. He doesn't say us, but he doesn't say me anymore either. It's not strategy. It's the unconscious building a home, and you're already in it. When a man is truly moved by you, he begins to restructure himself, even without your permission, even without full awareness, not because he wants to, because he has to. That's what the soul does when it recognizes someone. And yet, most of us miss it. We look for declarations instead of details. We wait for fireworks instead of listening to the silence. But the silence is where the truth lives. There's a moment, and maybe you felt it, when he looks at you like you're the one thing he never planned for. Not in a fantasy way, in a shaken to his core way, like his life just tilted slightly off axis, and he doesn't know how to put it back. That moment is real. It's not imagined. It's his unconscious trying to reconcile a truth his ego wasn't prepared to feel. You see it in the quiet changes, in how he doesn't just hear you, he listens and remembers. A random story you told a month ago reappears in conversation. A passing complaint you made gets resolved without you asking. Not because he's trying to win you, because your comfort has become part of his emotional equation. You're no longer outside his life. You're a variable in his inner balance. He's thinking about you, even when you're not around. He starts texting less about nothing and more when something actually matters. You pop up in his day at strange moments. You haunt his choices in the best way. And when you're gone, he feels it. He won't say, "I miss you," outright, especially if he's not fully aware of how deep this runs. But he'll show it in strange ways. He'll check in. He'll mention something that reminded him of you. He'll create excuses to reappear in your orbit. This isn't emotional neediness. This is psychological resonance. It's what Jung meant when he spoke about symbols moving in the psyche, figures that live in the unconscious and reshape us from within. And sometimes that figure is you. You're no longer someone he just likes. You've become a presence inside him, a mirror, a trigger, a guide. This is when you'll see something incredible. He starts to open parts of himself you didn't ask to see, not the curated, polished stories, but the rough ones, the fears, the flaws, the failures. Not because he's trying to trauma dump or seek pity, but because when a man is truly connected to a woman, he doesn't just want to be seen, he wants to be known. He trusts you with the parts he usually hides. And more than that, he begins to change without realizing he's changing. He becomes a little more focused, a little more intentional, a little more awake. Not because you're fixing him, because you've activated something inside him that wants to rise to meet you. The poor archetype, the eternal boy, is very real in many men. It resists maturity, avoids responsibility, and clings to freedom. But Jung also taught that what awakens the boy into the man is often a powerful encounter with the feminine that disrupts his emotional inertia. You become the emotional gravity he orbits. You become the mirror that reflects back both his light and his shadow. And the man who is ready, truly ready, will not run. He will fumble. He will resist. But he will stay. He will sit in the discomfort of being seen. He will return to the conversation after pulling away. He will try to show up, not perfectly, but differently. You'll notice he starts aligning with your world. He adapts, not to please you, but because something inside him wants to belong to your life, not just pass through it. He asks about your opinions. He starts seeing things through your lens. He begins to consider you, not as a concept, but as a real emotional center in his life. This is not manipulation. This is not performance. It's integration. Your presence is altering the architecture of his interior world, and he's letting it happen, even if he doesn't fully understand why. But the most undeniable sign, the one you should never overlook, is this. When a man begins to imagine the future, and you're already in it, even in his unconscious speech, his soul has already voted. You didn't ask for promises. You didn't push for answers. And yet, there you are, included in the version of his life he's trying to build. It shows up in strange phrases. We should go there sometime. I think you'd like that book. Maybe one day we'll... And he may not say, I love you. He may still be unsure. But in his mind, something has clicked. You're part of the picture now. This is the real transformation Jung spoke of, where unconscious emotion breaks through the surface and begins to rewrite the path forward. The way he laughs changes. The way he rests changes. Even the way he works may begin to shift, because your presence is influencing his energy, not from the outside, but from the core of his psyche. And here's the hard part. Sometimes he'll pull away again. Not because it isn't real, but because it is. The mind tries to protect us from feelings that seem too big, too raw, too permanent. So he might disappear for a while. He might act cold. He might overcorrect, convincing himself he was imagining it all. But the unconscious doesn't unlove once it's chosen. Even if he detaches, he'll circle back. Even if he shuts it down, he'll feel the echo. Because once someone sees you through the soul, the eyes don't forget. So what does this mean for you? It means stop chasing the confession. Don't beg for clarity from someone whose heart is still catching up to his awareness. Instead, listen with more than your ears. Feel what the logic cannot explain. Trust what's speaking to you in timing, patterns, behavior, effort, presence. Because real love often whispers long before it speaks. And if you're seeing it, if you're feeling it, don't dismiss it just because it hasn't been said out loud. The soul speaks a different language, and sometimes what seems like hesitation is just awe. Because when a man finally recognizes that he's in love, deeply, irreversibly, soulfully, it doesn't always come out as poetry. Sometimes it comes out as stillness, as a small step forward, as a man who used to flee, now choosing to stay. And when that happens, when all the signs finally align, not in fireworks, but in quiet, sacred repetition, that's when you know he's not just in love with you. He's becoming someone new because of you. That's not chemistry. That's transformation. And nothing is more real than that.